Welcome to the Minnesota Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools with us this evening. My name is Danielle, and I'm going to be the presenter throughout our session. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time throughout the session. This is the second of 3 days of the college fair, so be sure to check out the next day, which is tomorrow, for more sessions and more colleges. This presentation will be recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Minnesota. I am now going to turn it over to our first presenter, and that is the University of Kansas.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We truly appreciate it. My name is Laura Nelson. I represent the University of Kansas. My information is on the screen, so feel free to snap a picture of that if you'd like. I am based here in Minnesota in the Twin Cities area. I'm actually from here as well, an MACU graduate. I graduated in 2012. So I'm very excited to work with you all this year and excited to talk to you about KU this evening. So I want to start us off by just kind of talking about the broader sense of who are Jayhawks and what our student body looks like at KU. So you'll see some numbers on the screen here. We do have 19,000 undergraduate students. So for me, I know that was really a sweet spot of having a lot of opportunity and just attracting some of the best faculty around with a quote unquote larger size school. And it is great being Division I and in the Big 12. But that 19,000 number was actually really manageable to create smaller communities and meet people just within different areas of the university. So it was actually very common for me to walk on campus and actually see my friends and see my classmates. You'll see the average ACT and GPA up there. 40% of our students do come from outside of the state of Kansas, so I can assure you, you will not be the only folks coming in from out of state. We do have all 50 states represented in our student body and over 110 countries as well. In terms of class sizes, again, you'll see some numbers there. Almost 75% of our classes do have fewer than 30 students. You'll likely experience a variety of class sizes at KU, but again, a lot of your classes will be around that 30 student mark. This evening, I'm going to touch on 3 main points. So we will actually start with AAU. AAU stands for Association of American Universities, and this is a big part of KU. We are only one of 36 public institutions that are part of this elite group of schools, and we are a founding member of this. And what this means is that KU actually receives a large amount of funding that's available for research. So research is a very important factor on our campus, and it's also not limited to what you think of as like just the sciences. I can tell you I was an interior design major and was able to conduct research during my undergraduate time at KU. This also allows us to have a lot of fields of study and majors. So we do have over 400 majors at our university. So definitely a lot to choose from there. Next, obviously, big selling point for us is where we're located. We're located in Lawrence, Kansas. Lawrence is honestly just the quintessential college town, truly a very welcoming, diverse, genuine place. And you can feel it when you get on campus. There's a lot going on. I can assure you Kansas is not just cornfields. It has a very lively campus and a very lively downtown area that is pictured on your screen there. We're actually the #1 live music destination between Chicago and Denver. So music, arts, just all around culture, outdoor activities are a big, big deal on our campus, along with a lot of local restaurants and shops that are in our downtown area. Another perk about our location, for those of you that haven't been to Lawrence, we're kind of nestled in between Kansas City and Topeka. So that does bring a lot of opportunity for internships and jobs, and we have great connections with companies in those areas as well. Last but not least, the Jayhawk identity. If you didn't know, we are the only place where you can go to become a Jayhawk. And there's just so many opportunities to really get involved and create that community that I've talked about. Obviously, where you choose to live is going to be a big part of that your freshman year. We have a lot of living opportunities, including dorms, scholarship halls, and on-campus apartments. Our alumni network is also a big perk of going to KU. We have just so many wonderful alumni spread throughout the world that it's really easy to connect with people before you even graduate from KU. And then, of course, we have multiple clubs and organizations to get involved in as well. We do have our assured admission requirements listed here. We are test optional for admission, so please be aware of that. We do also admit below these standards, but this is just a nice threshold to keep in mind. And then we did just revamp our scholarships this year as well. So these are based on only your GPA. That is the only factor that we're going to be looking at for scholarships. Please know that if you're a senior, you have to apply before December 1st in order to qualify. That is the last deadline. So if you apply after, even if you have a qualifying GPA, you're not going to be awarded that scholarship. This is a big deal, and it makes KU very comparable to a lot of in-state institutions as well. Again, you might want to snap a picture of this timeline. This is just an overall view of some important dates to keep in mind. Even for juniors, the deadlines next year will be very similar. And then again, just some links about our campus. I really encourage you all to visit. We have all of our visits posted online, and we can't wait to welcome you to campus. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that great information, Laura. All right, our next presenter is going to be Bemidji State University.
Okay, give me 1 second here, guys. I'm just looking for my, there it is. Okay, are we seeing Welcome Buju?
Not yet.
Share.
There we go.
Now we are. There we go. Sorry, bear with me a little bit. So welcome, or Buju, as we say in Ojibwe here at Bemidji State University. So the first slide that you're going to see here is going to be our actual campus. So I'm just going to use my mouse here. These are some of our academic buildings. These are our residence halls here. It's our beautiful American Indian Resource Center, of course, our football field, our outdoor program center, and then a swimming beach on the other side here. So we like to say at Bemidji State, if we were any closer to the water, we'd be wet. We use it as both recreation, of course, but also as a living laboratory on campus. So a little bit about Bemidji State. The city of Bemidji actually has 15,000 people, at the hub for 60,000. We have a regional airport. We have, state-of-the-art Sanford healthcare. So we do have a hospital here, and we have a really great relationship with the community surrounding us. It's very often that you'll see community members that aren't necessarily students actually come into like hockey games, football games, and we do a lot of like cross promotion events downtown and then on campus as well. So it's a really fun community. So some things that we have to offer here at BSU, we have 70 undergraduate programs. We have a great student to faculty ratio. We have a 20-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And that means for you that you're going to have more face time with your professors and those smaller class sizes. Our class sizes range from typically our biggest classes are going to be capped at that 75 student level up to our advanced classes, which sometimes have 5 students. So that makes it really nice and personable for you, and then you kind of get to know your professors better. We also don't have any classes taught by students. Not that there's anything wrong with having graduate students teach, it's just that all of our faculty members are either faculty or instructors so they won't be leaving after their graduate degree finishes, necessarily. We've also been ranked as a Princeton Green College, which we're very proud of. We have a sustainability office here on campus that handles things like student initiative projects that houses our environmental studies, and just kind of works with other departments as well to try to make it as green and sustainable as possible here on campus. We've actually already been able to reduce our carbon footprint by 20%. So we have got a goal to be completely sustainable by 2050, but we've got a long way to go, and we're happy with the progress we've done so far. We are definitely an outdoors type of campus, but if you don't like the outdoors, we still got all kinds of fun stuff for you to do as well. I'm personally more of an indoorsy person. So just wanted to point out a few student services we have at Bemidji State University. So we have a full service career services department. They work on things like internships, externships, mock interviews. Again, the ratio to how many students we serve to how many people are in that department is very good. So we have a lot of time to do things like work one-on-one with students. We have like a resume on the run program and things like that. It's really fantastic. We also have International Program Center here on Bemidji's campus, and that's for students who are either international students, which we have students in over 30 countries that we are very proud to have at BSU, but also we do study abroad options as well. We have our American Indian Resource Center that houses the only Ojibwe language college program in the world, so we're very proud of that. And then we have several interdisciplinary programs with Indigenous studies. We have a nursing and Indigenous studies program. We have a environmental studies and Indigenous studies program, and others that can be created as an independent study or as a minor. And then we have our Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion that just makes sure that everyone on campus feels welcome and safe. So we do require that students live on campus their first year. So the timeline is just there. It's very simple. Get accepted to BSU first, apply for housing in October. You can start searching for a roommate in February. Then you get to pick your dorm, your bed, whether you want it lofted, and your meal plan in June. And then you move in August. So it's very simple. We also have tons of clubs and organizations available at BSU. We have 40 special interest clubs, over 35 departmental clubs, 20 intramural club sports, 7 student government opportunities, 6 faith-based groups, and then 2 Greek service groups as well. So not the social Greek, but the service-based Greek groups. And for athletics, we are Division I, just for ice hockey, men and women's, and then all of our other sports are Division II. I have them listed here if you want to take a screenshot real quick. And I can personally get you in contact with any of the coaches that you'd like to talk to if you were interested in becoming a Beaver athletics, participant. So for BSU, the application process is very simple, and I'll just say it really quick. We are test optional. We're always free, and you just apply online with a transcript. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Erin, for sharing that great information about Bemidji State University. All right, we are now going to be hearing from Hamline University. All right, I think you might be muted. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that was terrible. That's really embarrassing for all of us involved. Good evening, everybody. My name is T. Corbin Conliffe. I'm an admissions counselor at Hamline University. Tonight, we're just going to do a real brief overview of all things Hamline related, but if I'm honest, I think you have to come in and really take a look at us in person. Important things to know about Hamline University is we're established in 1854. making us literally older than the state of Minnesota. There are well over 50 different areas of study here. There's literally, we boast a 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio, but these are just kind of numbers out there, right? So it's more important for me to talk about what is the experience like as a student here, and I can do that as both an alumni and as somebody that is constantly interviewing students. So first and foremost, Hamline is found in St. Paul, so we're like a little bit south of the state fairgrounds, but we're literally located inside of the Midway neighborhood, which means that we are halfway between Minneapolis and St. Paul. And the reason why we love being in the neighborhood that we're in is because it is a community. But even beyond that, we are trying to make sure that your education is not just something that happens inside of a classroom, inside of books that people have read hundreds of years, right? Instead, we want you to know that your education is alive and that it breathes and that it is constantly expanding and changing. So if you're a theater kid, let's have you learn some stuff in classrooms and let's get you into a theater company. If you are interested in political science, let's send you over to the Capitol so you can see how the legislature actually works. If you want to do business, well, there's entirely too many businesses inside of Minneapolis and St. Paul, and we want to get you out there and into them, doing internships, seeing how they work so that you can actually make an informed decision about what it is that you want to pursue as a major. Speaking of majors, we have, again, well over 50 different majors, and if we don't have something that you want to do, we boast a flexible major, so you can kind of Frankenstein monster some majors together and create the one that you find the most interesting. Another common question is, what are the people like at Hamline? Now, I can tell you, like on paper, right, that we have 37 different states represented and 42 different countries. I can tell you that the incoming freshman class, that 47% of them identify as students of color, and then that like 52% of them are first generation students, but that doesn't tell you anything about the student body and what's it like to actually be a Piper. So instead, what I will tell you is that Pipers are in collection, both from a student and from a faculty perspective, just a little goofy, right? It's the only school that I ever went to where a Spanish professor just absolutely gushes about translation work, and specifically translation inside of sci-fi, or that like one of my academic big brother, his doctorate is technically in political science, but what it really is a doctorate in comic books, because he finds the similarities between the two to be the most interesting thing in the world to him, right? Hamline students are really good at finding interests in the world and then finding a way to apply their education to it. And that to me has been everything about the experience. Speaking of like Zev and his comic books, or my doctor friend Zev in his comic books, right? It's important to understand that Hamline students spend a lot of time doing research, right? There's only so much that a professor by themselves can teach you. And sometimes there's just things in the world that, like, if you really find that you're really excited about it and you're really passionate about it, we encourage you to go out into the world and do that and do the research, do the internships. And so before you graduate, right, you'll have to have either done a major research project or have done an internship. We call that the LEAP credit. And so you got to leap into the field that you're interested in. And maybe what you'll end up doing is you'll leap even out of the country and into and like do a study abroad trip. For me, I went to Australia. I have friends that went to Germany, Japan, Chile, you name it, and a Hamline student has probably gone there. Our commitment, again, is that we want to make sure that you get out into the world, like see something new and interesting, and then bring that back with you when you come back into the States, because that's the thing that makes the difference between in the interviews that you'll be doing when you're looking and trying to figure out what your career is going to be, and honestly, even getting into grad school, because grad schools love to hear about what kind of undergraduate research you have done before you got there. One of the things I did not mention about Hamline is that we are founded in the Methodist tradition, which is different than being a religious school. So there's no religion requirement coming into Hamline, but you do just know that when you arrive, you're going to be a part of a community that puts in a lot of community service hours. I'm talking more than 150,000 hours of community service hours between a student population that's a little bit over 2,000 students, right? So when you come here, know that community service and social justice is a huge part of what it is to be a Piper. All right, so then some easy, quick things. So if anything I have mentioned is starting to sound interesting to you, the Hamline application is open, so is the Common application. You can use both and apply into Hamline. We don't rank one higher than the other. They are completely free. As far as requirements that we have for that, we need your essay, we need the transcripts, and then we need a letter of recommendation. I'm going to encourage maybe getting two letters of recommendation. As far as deadlines go, early decision starts November 15th. So that's just a couple of days. December 1st is early action. Rolling decision is January 15th. We offer a ton of scholarships. So our highest scholarship runs is sitting at a cool 30,000. We have a total low of 14,000. So there's a whole range inside of there. Grants, loans, work study are part of what we as makes up part of our need-based financial aid. The FAFSA opened up October 1st. So you have plenty of time, but you have plenty of time to still get it all in, so we can get you a nice financial aid award. And then if you just have questions about how to even think about doing financial aid, we are always running financial aid sessions. So the next one is coming up in January. And then, like I said before, one of the best ways to figure out how the Hamlet experience actually looks and feels is you got to come in and take a look at us in person. We are open for doing visits. And I believe that is all the time I have. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Corbin. That was great information about Hamline University. Our next presenter this evening is going to be South Dakota. So we're looking forward to hearing from South Dakota.
Okay, let me share my screen. See, share, and then we'll go up here. Okay, so my name is Griselle. I am an admission counselor based in Rapid City, but I am primarily work with our Minnesota students. So I'm just going to go over some quick stuff about our school. My coworker Ashley is also joining me, and she's going to be dropping some things in the chat with important links and stuff. So we are a engineering, science, and technology university. We have around 2,500 students on our campus with a 15 to 1 student to faculty ratio. Our average class sizes are relatively small, around 24 students. We have 20 STEM majors, 12 of them are accelerated masters, and with 26 minors, with 50% of our students coming in from out of state. So this is a list of our majors that we have on campus. The ones that have an asterisk are going to be our accelerated master's programs. Those are going to be completed in 5 years. You would apply for that in your junior year as long as you have a 3.0 GPA. And then you would finish your bachelor's and then do 1 year for your master's, and that's how you get done in 5 years, saving you time and money. One of the degrees that we also offer that is an accelerated master's program is paleontology. It's not on this list because we don't offer it as a bachelor's program. So just the accelerated master's for that one. Since you are coming in from Minnesota, you are going to participate in our Minnesota reciprocity that we have with your state. So it's going to be around $23,000 a year to come to school with us. It includes tuition and fees with $12,000 for that, books and supplies $2,000, room and board $8,000. In the books and supplies, that's also going to include a tablet PC. So that computer is going to be yours at the end of your time with us for 4 years. And then, yeah, so it's great. You don't have to worry about buying a computer. It'll have programs and software preloaded on it for you to use at our school. We have our students having 97% placement within their career field. So that's great, a great outlook for graduating students. That also includes our students that are going on into like a master's program or a PhD program. Our starting average salary for students is around $66,000. It varies by degrees, but around $66,000 starting average, and 100% placement for students that complete at least one internship. Our students are around 77% of them actually are part of an internship. So we really encourage our students to get out there during the career fairs that we have on campus in the fall and the spring. So you can start going as freshmen and even all the way up through senior year. So really get your name out there and start meeting different employers and companies to work for or get internships with. Our graduates end up all over the country, and even in this past year, some in Japan. During the pandemic in 2019 and 2020, we still had students finding jobs all over the country. The states that aren't colored blue does not mean that we don't have students working there, just not for this year, with big names with GE, the US Army, Union Pacific, Facebook, Google, SpaceX, Cargill, Bobcat, just lots of different names. And those also come to our internships. We have 151 clubs and organizations on our campus. We have Greek life, special interests with like esports, mountain biking, hiking, etc. Cultural ones as well, honor societies. So you will find your group of people to hang out with every day on our campus through various clubs and organizations. We also offer American Indian student resources for those that would like more support in that for American Indian students. We work with Teosha Pay Scholars Program as well, so opportunities for students there. Living on campus, you're going to live on campus for 2 years. We have Palmerton, Connolly, and Peterson. Those are going to be our freshman halls with lots of amenities, laundry, kitchen, common areas, basic dorm things. And within walking distance of that, you have the Minor Shack convenience store, Einstein Bagels, and our Hard Rocker Cafe. Student services are mainly going to be in our Civic Center. That's where the Student Success Center is, counseling services, student health services are. We also have a wellness center that's going to be the gym. Intramural sports are going to be there as well, and a bouldering wall for students to use. And our library is getting a makeover, so it's going to be really nice. We're going to have lots of new study spaces coming in, math tutoring, maker spaces, and Einstein's Bagels is going to be moving in there too. So it's going to be looking really nice for fall of 22. There's lots to do around in the Black Hills and in Rapid City, lots of fun things, lots of nature, lakes, hiking trails. The Badlands are nearby, Custer State Park, One Cave National Park, lots of fun things to do. If you have not applied with us already, it's just going to be a $20 application fee. We need your high school transcript and proof of college algebra readiness. That's either your ACT, SAT scores or an AccuPlacer test, just so we can see where you land on that. If you're going to be doing your scholarships, we need you to be accepted and have all your stuff submitted by January 15th. And a 3.0 GPA for that with your ACT and SAT score. So that's why we kind of encourage our students to do those tests so you can have a chance at those scholarships. And if you'd like to visit us, we have virtual and in-person options available through our website at scsmt.edu. Visit. And then this is just our connections page. So screenshot that for our admissions and my contact information. Thanks. Oh, lost my mouse. There we go.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for sharing that great information about South Dakota Mines. So we have a great amount of time to go through a few questions, and we really appreciate our attendees sticking around because this is a good time to get advice from our college representatives. So our very first question this evening is, what advice would you give students who are in the college search process?
I'll jump in if nobody minds. I would say that and the gentleman from Hamlin actually talked a lot about this. Go to the schools and see for yourself if you like them. We can tell you how wonderful they are, and every one of these schools I'm sure are fantastic in their own ways. You won't know if it's right for you until you step on that campus and really see. I think that probably everyone would say a similar thing. And I know that the gentleman from Hamlin will, but yeah, it really is, I think, the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Laura?
Yeah, going off of that, obviously visiting campus is huge, but try and just be open-minded as well. I think sometimes we can put ourselves in a box and say, I think I want a school that's under this amount of students or has, this specific amenity. And that can be helpful sometimes, but a school might be out there that's a great fit for you that might not have one of those things. So just be open-minded, use your resources, talk to your high school counselor, talk to family, friends who have experiences, at that specific school, and just keep inquiring and asking questions.
Yeah, I'd like to just kind of reiterate what everyone else has been saying about like getting the vibe of things, going on campus and talking to maybe other students on campus while you're there to see what their opinions are on that. And definitely making a list of like what's important to you and what you can be flexible on before you even go to a school. So you have an idea of what you're looking for and maybe what you'd be flexible on.
So my advice I'll shift gears a little bit. I'll say that like when you're going into the essay bit, get an editor. That's literally one of the greatest pieces of advice I can possibly give. Go back, talk to your favorite English teacher, have your friend look it over, just read it out loud to yourself. There's no or in all of this, actually. It's and with all of that, right? Just make sure you have an editor to come back and look at your essay. Because for me as an admissions counselor, I take a lot of time to look at your essay because a lot of the other things on your application are about the past. Your essay is about the present and the future that you want to have.
That's a great point. And that kind of leads us into the next question. So kind of flipping gears a little bit, what is one myth that you would want to debunk in this process? And I think, Corbin, you just, hit the nail on the head with students thinking that it's the package that they already have and they don't get to affect any other part of the admissions process. But what else would you add to that? What would you want to debunk in this admission process? And we'll start with the University of Kansas.
Yeah, I definitely have one in mind. We are not scary people and we're human. I remember when I was going through the college process, anyone that I spoke to at a college, I was like, oh my gosh, like I got to be, so professional and so perfect. There's my cat, sorry. But we're human, right? Like my cat's on my screen. It's okay. So please just understand, like, we want to help you and just be real and be genuine with us. And we're excited to work with you too.
Yeah, and I guess I would say the myth that I think is the most important, and it's just important for me in general because the reason why I got into higher education is because I am a first generation student. And unfortunately, some people still believe the myth that college isn't for everyone. Every college isn't for everyone, but education is for everybody. And so again, try to find that right fit. There's going to be a place for you and you're going to find it. And it is for you if you want it. So don't feel like, well, oh, this is too much out of my reach. Or if you look at the direct admission requirements in place, you're like, oh, I can't get in. I don't think I'm going to get in anywhere. That's not true. You'll find a good place for yourself.
Yeah. Corbin, did you have anything else to add?
I always have something to add, unfortunately. I would say for me, I think affordability. So like legitimately I work with a lot of students. I work with a lot of first-gen students who get about as far as, well, this is the price tag of the school, and they just kind of stop. And if I'm being honest, it doesn't matter if we're talking about public or private schools. A lot of the time, they all tend to get to be about the exact same pricing. And so it kind of goes back to some earlier advice about making sure that you have a conversation with your admissions counselor, that you look at your financial aid award, and that you're really understanding what it is you're getting into, and just make sure that you don't just like walk away because something looks like it's out of your price range, because the reality is that every college is going to look like that if you treat it that way.
So I would just like to add, I think being open with what you need when you're like looking for support on campus, like definitely being okay with asking questions, with asking for help in general, meeting with an advisor, a peer mentor of some sort, just to really get that support that you need, not being afraid of asking for help for that, especially like getting tutoring and stuff. Like, it's fine. You want to succeed, and this is a way that you're going to succeed. And instead of just being like, I'm scared of asking for help, like, no, go out there, because otherwise you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure. So it's okay to ask for help, and that's what advisors and tutors are there for. And even reaching out to us in admissions too is a great way to get some sort of support.
Yeah, that's really great advice. All right, so that brings us to our final question. And this one is always hard for college representatives because I'm going to ask you to just think of one thing that you want our attendees to remember about your institution. So just think of one thing that you want to resonate in their brain as they walk away from this presentation. So we'll start with the University of Kansas.
Right, it's definitely hard to pinpoint one thing, but I guess what I would say is just from my own personal experience visiting campus for the first time is KU is a great fit for a lot of people. So I just really encourage you to give it a shot and feel the energy, feel the tradition, feel the history, and just the liveliness of our town, and just embrace kind of this new start that you're about to embark on.
Okay, you were right. This is difficult. I think what I am going to say, the last thing I want you to remember is that though we are a small 5,000 student campus, kind of in the middle of the woods, we can provide anything that any other university can. We are a full service university, and we are Minnesota's premier Northwoods destination. So please come see us.
Okay, so here's what I'll say, because I had to, and I had to pick one. I would say that exploration is what your entire time that you're doing in Hamlet is that we don't want you to just like read a book and then test on that book and then rinse and repeat. We want you to like read a book, have some thoughts about it, want to go see what that book looks like in real life, right? Like my very first legal studies course, I had to be in courtrooms every Wednesday because my professor wanted us to see what that looked like. And that's the most important thing I could say about Hamlet, is that it's a school about exploration.
Okay, sorry, there's something blocking the mute button and I couldn't get rid of it. I think I would say just the traditions that we have here at South Dakota Mines, a lot of our school traditions are really great. It really brings that sense of community that we have on our campus, and we've got so many fun like clubs and organizations. My coworker Ashley is telling me about our medieval recreation like club and mountain biking clubs. Those are pretty popular, and there's just a lot of like fun, quirky little things on our campus that really make it a great community to be a part of, and really welcoming to many students, from athletes to nerds and geeks. Like, it's a really great place.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for sharing all of that great information, the advice, as well as those final reminders about your campus. So that brings us to the end of tonight's presentation. I want to thank you all for joining us. When you close this window for our attendees, you're going to be able to access a survey. It's very quick, 5 questions. We appreciate any feedback that you're able to offer us. And we encourage you to come back again tomorrow for the next set of the college fair. Unfortunately, we were not able to hear from Central Lakes College tonight. So I encourage you to go out and check them out on their website or look for them in future college fairs. You'll be able to access the recording from this session on strivescan.com/Minnesota. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you to our representatives. Everyone have a good evening.